From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5. Plus, we're going to talk a lot of football tonight. Just within the last hour, NFL Pro Bowl selections coming down. Let me fix a tie clip and look professional for a second. The Pro Bowl selections coming down last hour, and it was not kind. They were not kind to the Tennessee Titans. Once again, for the fourth time in 5 years, no Pro Bowl selection for the Titans. Delanie Walker, Jarrell Casey, both first alternates. I am outraged that Delanie Walker is not in the Pro Bowl. I get that a lot of these awards, and rightfully so, go to good players on good teams. That's just how it works. And I get that and I understand that. But there is no objective way at which you can look at tight ends in the NFL this season and tell me that Delanie Walker is not one of the best 4 tight ends in the National Football League. He is the only weapon on the Titans offense at this moment. The only guy that Marcus Mariota has been able to turn to throughout the course of this season. He gets the brunt of defensive game plans because of that. The last couple weeks, the Jets and the Patriots have done everything possible to slow him down and keep him from having big days. Yet, he still comes up with 7 catches against the Jets. And this weekend, couple of touchdowns against the Patriots. They locked him down most of the day. But when he was able to make a play, he gets into the end zone, and then the next time he catches the ball at midfield, runs over about 4 guys, leaps over a guy down the sideline, and outruns the rest of the defense for a touchdown. It's that type of effort week in and week out that makes Delanie Walker a Pro Bowl tight end. Leads the NFL in receptions for tight ends. Franchise record for single season receptions by a tight end here in Tennessee. He's 3rd in the NFL in yards. He's probably going to go over 1,000 yards this weekend, certainly in the next 2 weeks. And he's got 6 touchdowns on the season for an offense that doesn't score a whole heck of a lot of points. Delanie Walker should be in that game. And he may still get there because of the alternate selection thing. But watch football. This is supposed to be voted on by the fans. This is supposed to be voted up by people in the league who should know better. When you play the Titans, you have to watch out for Delanie Walker. He is the guy you are going to focus on as a defense. And you know what? When you focus on him, he's still going to beat you because that's how good he is right now. He deserved to be in there, so I'm very disappointed that the National Football League completely overlooked Tennessee. Look, there weren't going to be 6 Titans in there. They don't belong. But Delanie Walker belongs, and just because his team stinks shouldn't disqualify him from being recognized for being one of the best players in the National Football League. He belongs to be there. Your thoughts on that issue, 737-7767. By the way, the guys that are in, no surprise, Rob Gronkowski. Probably no surprise, Greg Olsen, who's a part of a 10-player contingent in Carolina. Unbeaten team. To the victors go the spoils. But then you look at Travis Kelce of the Chiefs and Tyler Eifert of Cincinnati. Fine players, but statistically not even close to comparable of what Delanie Walker has done this season. So that's what you look at. Panthers do have 10 guys in. No surprises, an unbeaten team. Seahawks have a bunch in. Patriots have a bunch in. No surprise there. You look down the list, it's largely good teams. Arizona has, I think, 6 guys in the game. One other cool note that I can pass along that's exciting for this part of the country is Eric Berry. After missing most of last season because of cancer, coming back and battling back and fighting that off and getting back on the field this year, the comeback story is now complete. And it's not just complete by a triumphant return to the football field. It's complete by a triumphant return to Pro Bowl status on the football field. Barry, the former Vol, selected to his 4th Pro Bowl tonight. He had 3. He's sacked from the sport, sacked from life, really, to take on cancer last year. And he fights his way back to not just play again, but to, as of last week, he was the highest graded safety in the National Football League. The highest graded safety in the National Football League. Now, much deserving of another Pro Bowl trip. Just a remarkable comeback story for Eric Berry. Very, very cool. 737-7767 is our number tonight. We'd love to hear from you. There's a bunch of games going on. I certainly understand that. A lot of basketball out there. Certainly can react as I am to the Pro Bowl selections. What do you think? Has Delanie Walker done enough in your mind? Does he deserve to be in the Pro Bowl like I think? Or do you think that he's a award that, like we're seeing, is basically reserved for good teams? Good players on good teams, not necessarily the best players at each position. Love to get your thoughts on that tonight. 737-7767 is our number. Another thought I want to get out there to you is, as we talk about Delanie Walker and his stardom, and last night we talked a lot about Marcus Mariota, who I believe and the Titans believe will be a very good franchise quarterback, an upper echelon quarterback in the National Football League before long. But there's not much else. Think about it. How many guys do you really count on with the Titans to perform well each and every weekend? To be better than the guy lined up across from them? It's a short list. I said this to somebody the other day. If you gave me the option to have 12 keeper picks on the Titans, 12 keeper picks, treat it as a fantasy league. Give me 12 keeper picks and then just waive every other contract in the room and go into free agency with all of that money and go into the draft and try to rebuild this team. Not add pieces and mess around, but literally rebuild this team around those 12 guys. I would be hard-pressed not to sign up for that. And that seems incredible because it's very difficult to build a 53-man roster, especially when you only have generally 7 draft picks in a year. But I'm not sure you could do any worse if you had to just go out and find guys in free agency and rebuild this roster than what you're staring at right now. I just don't know if you can't find better players out there than what the Titans are stuck at a lot of positions. And I picked 12 for the number that I would need to move on, and that's because I think you keep Marcus Mariota. He's obviously the franchise quarterback that you're going to build around. I think Zach Mettenberger has a great value. We've seen that he's been needed each of these last 2 years and can continue to increase that value. I'll get back to him in a second, but I want to round out this list. I don't know if there's anybody in the backfield right now that I think you have to keep. I mean, maybe you like Antonio Andrews, or maybe you think David Cobb is going to be a good running back, but running backs are kind of dime a dozen in this league. I don't know if there's anybody there that you don't think you can get someone at least as good, if not better, through the draft or in free agency. Wide receiver, though, I would keep Kendall Wright. I would keep Dorial Green-Beckham. I would certainly keep Delanie Walker. I would keep Taylor Lewan and Chance Warmack on the offensive line. Those are my 7 on offense that are kind of going to be my foundation over there. Defensively, you're definitely keeping Jarrell Casey, first alternate to the Pro Bowl tonight. I would keep Avery Williamson at linebacker. I think he's a good fit for this. I would keep Brian Arakpo and Derek Morgan at the outside linebacker positions. And if you're going 12, I think I keep a healthy Jason McCourty. If you told me that I had a healthy Jason McCourty, I'd put him out there and have a cornerback that I felt pretty confident about. That's my 12. I don't know if I find a whole lot other than that. You know, Daquan Jones has played pretty well for this defense. There's a couple others. Wesley Woodyard maybe at times. There's some guys that you can make an argument for. But I think that tells you where this team is right now, that literally you might think about an option in which you just essentially waived everybody and went after rebuilding everything. We all know that won't happen, but I just think it's an illustration of how much this roster lacks at this point. There are very few guys that play at above average NFL level for their position on this Titans roster. And in too many cases, guys being asked to play higher positions than they probably should be. You look at that cornerback position, for instance. Parrish Cox was brought in to compete for the second cornerback position this year for the Titans. He was supposed to compete with Bleedy Ray Wilson and Cody Sensabaugh for that job. It might win it, but he was supposed to compete for it. When Jason McCourty went out, and he's been out basically the entire season, Parrish Cox has had to become the number 1 cornerback for this team. Cody Sensabaugh has had to be basically the number 2 all season long. Bleedy Ray Wilson's been in and out with some injuries. So now all of a sudden you're playing guys like Cody Riggs, who is an undrafted free agent, and B.W. Webb, who wasn't here in training camp. They brought him in, and he's had to play some significant snaps for this defense. That can't happen in the NFL. You have to have better depth than that to survive. That cornerback position is a huge weakness for the Titans. Absolutely detrimental to the defense. But if you had Jason McCourty at the number 1 spot and Parrish Cox playing number 2 all the time, and then brought in Cody, and then brought in Bleedy Ray Wilson, it starts to look a little bit better. I'm still not sure it's a great position, but it looks a lot better than it has all of this season. And there's just too many spots like that on this Titans roster. Running back hasn't been a good position. Wide receivers with injuries hasn't been a good position. Offensive line certainly has had issues and forced guys to be shuffled around throughout the course. You have to have better depth. You have to have a better roster. And that's what we continue to see with this Titans team. They're just not good enough. And that goes at a lot of positions. They are just not talented enough to win games consistently in the NFL. We want to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. Let's talk those Pro Bowl selections. Let's talk the Titans. Would you take me up on my offer? Would you take 12 guys, 12 keepers? Imagine, again, this is fantasy. 12 keepers from the Titans and just try to draft and create a whole new team next year if you could? Or do you think they're close enough that you just add a few pieces with what they have? Interested to hear from you guys. We'll also hear from some of the Titans on a lot of these topics as well tonight. 737-7767 is our number. We'll take our first break and come back with more SportsLine right after this.